Good morning, viewers, and welcome to this Wednesday midweek edition of your number one breakfast show inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. And of course, this is the first segment of the program where we'll be taking a review of the national papers. And of course, as usual, on the program, we always start with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Let's see what Leadership is saying this Wednesday. Leadership says as Akpabio Abbas take charge, 10th NAS vows to tackle economic security challenges. As Akpabio Abbas take charge, 10th National Assembly vows to tackle economic security challenges, says it will be Commonwealth above party. We arrive Senate chamber 4 a.m. to prevent 2015 scenario. Tinubu seeks collaboration with lawmakers. I'll take the leading story once again. As Akpabio Abbas take charge, 10th National Assembly vows to tackle economic security challenges, says it will be Commonwealth above party. We arrive Senate chamber to 4 a.m. to prevent 2015 scenario. Tinubu seeks collaboration with lawmakers. And of course, on Leadership Newspaper, you see the picture of the new Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, hitting the gravel shortly after their swearing in at the National Assembly in Abuja yesterday. From the leading story, we move over to other stories we have on the page of Leadership. We have 103 die in Kwara boat mishap. State government orders mourn. What is sad story today? 103 die in Kwara boat mishap. State government orders mourn. Stories on page 10 of Leadership. And above that, we have marketers move to NNNPC Limited Petrol Import Monopoly. Marketers move to NNNPCL in Petrol Import Monopoly. The story is on page 10. And above the masthead, we have 2023 polls. Tribunal admits additional 188 exhibits from Peter Obi. Sokoto Caliphate publishes 3.2 million books by Islamic scholars. And of course, we have a cherry news on the page of our cover, what Nigerians have been waiting for. Hida Bashi, now Guinness World Record holder in cooking marathon. Students loan, NANS wants lecturers, orders removed from committee. Akeredolu begins medical leave, transmits power to deputy. These are the leading stories on Leadership Newspaper this Wednesday, June 14, 2023. And of course, we move over to the pulse of the paper today, which is the editorial stand of the paper, and that is on page 3, our stand. Our stand stay, students loan scheme. Students loan scheme. This is editorial on Leadership Newspaper today. And for more stories on the paper, you just log on to the website www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we move over to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint says, still on National Assembly elections that took place yesterday, Tinubu to Akpabio Abbas, let's work and work, give our people the best. Tinubu to Akpabio Abbas, let's work and work, give our people the best. Says we can't afford to waste this opportunity. We will collaborate with the executive, Akpabio Abbas assure. We kept vigil in NAS to prevent Saraki experience. Bamidele. That's the leading story on Blueprint. Of course, Blueprint also has similar pictures on Discover this morning, as you can see, just like Leadership. It has a picture of Akpabio and Abbas. And other stories also take precedence. 14 days after Tinubu takes over, equity market gains 1.216 trillion naira. Misconduct, Bello sacks Agri Commissioner to others. Deloitte lists short long-term benefits of fuel subsidy remover. Bono Assembly as elects Lawan Speaker fourth time. 38-year-old Salihu re-elected Kwara Assembly Speaker. Crisis stores Ogun inauguration protest in Jigawa. This story is on page 6 of Blueprint newspaper. And above the leading story today, we have Abdulrazak Ilori Emma mourns as 100 feared dead in Kwara boat mishap. The story is on page 13. Akeredolu proceeds on 21-day medical vacation. hands over to deputy. For more stories on Blueprint newspaper, you log on to the website www.blueprint.ng. From Blueprint, we have The Punch next on our menu for review this morning. The Punch says Tinubu's candidates floor APC rebels. Akpabio leaves Senate. 10th National Assembly, Tinubu's candidates floor APC rebels. Akpabio leads Senate. Abbas beats Wase. Jaji emerges House Speaker. Yari embraces Akpabio after defeat. National Assembly won't be independent. Presidency handpicked leaders. NNPP, Labour Party. Tinubu's candidates floor APC rebels. Akpabio leads Senate. Abbas beats Wase. Jaji emerges House Speaker. Yari embraces Akpabio after defeat. National Assembly won't be independent. Presidency handpicked leaders, according to NNPP and Labour Party. Of course, you have these pictures, same as other papers that we reviewed, leadership and blueprint. You have papers of the Senate leadership. And above the masthead, we have governors mourn as 103 die in Kwara boat tragedy. Rescuers recover over 50 corpses, 50 passengers, children missing. Classified documents, Trump aide arrested, face 37 counts. We have Taraba, Bauchi least stays in bus fare hikes report. Plateau governor condemns killing of pastor, 20 others. Kano Delta assemblies seize orders, elect speakers. That was the story on the Point newspaper. Just like every other paper, just log on to the website today to read more on the stories. And from there, we move over to the last paper we have on our menu, and that is This Day. This Day's list with Tinubu, Akpabio, Abbas, emergence, good development for Nigeria. Tinubu, Akpabio, Abbas, emergence, good development for Nigeria. Says it's time to go on with serving people. Declares readiness to transparently work with legislature. Vows to remain a partner for peace, stability of country. Senate President Speaker we waste no time filling other principal offices. Uriwa Dow's 10th National Assembly will be independent. SGF governors, others can congratulate new National Assembly leadership. And above that, we have over 120 people killed since Tinubu's inauguration, says Amnesty International. Over 120 people killed since Tinubu's inauguration, says Amnesty International. Parabot Mishap claims 100 lives. Above the masthead, we have federal government generated 1.18 trillion naira from VAT, company income tax, and first quarter. Stories on page 6 of This Day. And above that, we have Ondo Governor Keredolu writes Assembly, hands over to deputy, flies out for treatment. State legislature confirms governor's letter for medical leave. For more stories on This Day newspaper, just log on to their website www.thisdaylive.com. Well, viewers, this is where we end the first segment of this paper review this morning. But don't go away, we have something. We have one of the newly inaugurated honorable member of House of Representatives right here in the studio to talk more on what transpired yesterday. Don't go away, just stay tuned. See you.
God and country.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back to the second segment of the program Inside Nigeria. And of course, as you can see in the studio, I have a guest, is an honorable member of a honorable representing Ayidere State constituency of Oyo State, Honorable Osun State, Honorable Oderewale Elisha Akinyemi. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And of course, you are so young. This time, the bill, I think, is now working. You're not too young to run bill. So you're welcome. And of course, we also have some Bode Agbedo and Bode Gbadebo who is joining us virtual. Bode, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Hello, Bode. It's a pleasure to have your program. So I want to will you want to share on the process that had took place yesterday? We had Abbas Tajuddin Abbas being sworn in as a 10th Speaker of the National Assembly. Will you want to share light on that?
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me this morning. So I'm Honorable Oderewale Elisha Akinyemi. So Honorable representing the state constituency from Osun State, where I'm not surprised in any way for the fact that happened yesterday. Well, firstly, I want to sincerely appreciate the President of Nigeria, Tinubu. So he's a politician. He knows what to do, when to do it. So the outcome of the event that took place yesterday is not a surprise to people like us. You understand? So once you say, okay, this is where I want to go and this is what I want to do, so we definitely get whatever I wanted to get. So that is what I can tell you.
However, Honorable, many people have the opinion, just like you now. Okay, in Osun State, we have the same scenario.
Well,
That the governor says this is what I
no, no,
want as speaker.
let me just tell you this. In Osun State, as we all know that as far as this country is concerned today, our governor, whether you like it or not, is the most popular governor in Nigeria today.
Yes.
People call him dancing
Dancing
senators,
senators,
dancing governor.
dancing
But
governor.
one thing about this man is this. So he doesn't impose on anybody. You understand? So we selected carefully among ourselves. So we choose who we want as our speaker. You understand? So governor did not have it doesn't have hand in it. You understand? So we believe so much in the person that happened to be our speaker. We believe in his capacity, and we know he's going to deliver effectively. So according to the constitution. So that is why we picked him to be the speaker. So the governor did not have any hand in it at all.
Okay, it was democratically elected.
Exactly.
Now, many people are of the opinion that in this scenario where you have the president also wading in to say choose his preferred candidate, that most times they don't have a mind of their own. You tend they like the last night National Assembly, they term them as a rubber stamp leadership. So what do you say to that?
Well, thank you so much. As far as I'm
Can they be independent
as
on
far
their own?
as far as I'm concerned, so once you are elected as an honorable, so there is nothing like rubber stamp. So one thing about politics, what you see outside is quite different from what is happening inside. You understand?
Yeah.
So both of them, the Senate president and the Speaker of the 10th Assembly. So though actually they are president boys. Let me just say that. You understand? So but they have experience. So I believe so much in their capacity. You understand? So the 10th Assembly won't be able to stand assembly. Just trust me.
But given the fact that it was the president that actually put them there and had picked them, said this is what I want, and it came to pass, don't you think that they will not be able to go against what the president wants eventually?
Well, one thing I like, actually, I'm from People's Democratic Party.
Yes.
You understand? So, but one thing I discovered about President Tinubu is that he needs capable hands to work with him. You can see the man started on a very good note. He needs capable hands to work with him. You understand? And when duty calls, experience matters a lot. As a president, you cannot expect him to sit down and just go and do whatever you want and just bring me the speaker and the senate president. It doesn't work like that. You understand? So I believe so much in two of them. You understand? So they can never in any way be the rubber stamp assembly.
All right, thank you so much. Now, as an honorable member, just newly inaugurated, what bills are you looking forward to sponsoring in the Osun State Assembly?
Thank you so much. You know, like I told you the other time, that when duty calls, experience matters. I told my brother something before I came into the studio that many people see me as a very young. I said as a very young boy. He said I should not call myself a young boy any longer. That I'm a young man. You understand?
Yes.
So for the sake of privacy, you understand. So I will not want to talk about that now because we are just coming in. So as I'm having an idea, so a lot of people might also want to hijack it. You understand? So, but as I'm talking to you now, I have 4 solid bills that I'm working on.
Okay, like what particular area? Okay,
education. Yes,
I want to ask that.
Yes, agriculture. You understand? So I'm working.
These are issues that are
yes, exactly. So most especially, let me just give you a tip of one of the bills I'm working on now. You know, I over the time I realized that there is this wide difference between private and public schools. You understand? And let me just use primary school as a case study. You understand? If many people now, if you go to southern part of the country, if you have like 200,000, so you can use your bedroom apartment for school. It shouldn't be. You understand? So I want to make sure that before you can even think of going into school business, there must be a standard. there must be a regulatory
Yes,
body.
good.
There must be some certain requirements that you must meet before you even think of having your own schools. So those are the area I'm looking into. So don't let me just say more
Okay,
than that
just
for
with
now.
that. Okay, one other question just before we go, Honorable. When you look at presently, being the media, you see that mostly in the southwest, although it cut across the sector of across all corners of the country, but mostly in the southwest, we've seen situations, we've seen ritual killings on the internet. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Well, thank you so much. It is everywhere.
Yes,
So I won't agree. You
there is
telling me no, no, no,
I
no, no,
don't-
no, no, no. It is actually everywhere.
It is everywhere.
It is everywhere.
It is
So
everywhere.
I cannot
It's more predominant in
in
southwest.
Southwest. Well, one thing let me just use Osun State as a case study.
Mm,
Before my governor came in,
mm,
hmm, so it was a little bit rampant then. It was predominant then. But immediately my governor assumed office, he invited all the security agency. You understand? So he invited all of them.
mm,
He asked them. You understand? So and as far as Osun State is concerned, Osun State, if not the most peaceful state in Nigeria, will be among 1 to 5 peaceful states in Nigeria. You understand? So I think what needed to be done as regards this is that all the governors from the southwest, irrespective of the political party, irrespective of the interest, you understand? So they should come together and sit down and think of model that can work to cope all this, most especially ritual killings. Ogun State. You
Yes.
understand? Every time,
Yes.
every day, every nowadays,
Yes,
you'll be
now you are
hearing,
saying
you understand?
killings.
So, killing. So, I think they need to come together and sit down and think of a model, you understand, how to tackle this thing. So, for the life of our people.
All right, thank you so much. Now, before you go, I just want to ask, talking about gender inequality
Okay.
and all whatnot. In your state house of assembly, how many women do you have?
Thank you so much. Well, unfortunately, we are all
men.
all men.
Wow.
Let me tell you one thing. PDP is a disciplined party. You understand? I'm going to say that PDP is a disciplined party. What happened during the primary election is that our primary election was not in any way influenced. You understand? Didn't influenced. Nobody influenced it. So women came, men came. At the end of the day, unfortunately for women, so we all the men won the primary election. So that's why.
So something has to be done. Anyway, we have our guest. No, not really a guest. I mean, house presenter to Bode Gbadebo online. Bode, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Initially, I called you in, but there was network issue. We have on seat. We have with us in the studio honorable representing Ifediri. How do you call it? Ayediri constituency
Of Osun State.
of Osun State. You want to? Hello, Bode. You have anything to ask our guest? Hello, Bode. Wow. Are you hearing me? We are not hearing him. There's network issue. Fortunately, Bode, we are not hearing you. Well, time to go now for this session. Thank you so much. Hello, Bode.
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay,
Congratulations to
good.
Honorable
You have
Akinyemi.
any for our guests? Any question for our guests?
Yes, Honorable Akinyemi, I would like to ask you before you leave the
Is
studio.
Honorable
You
Oderewale
earlier
Elisha
expressed,
Kiyemi is representing
yes, Honorable
Ayediri
Akinyemi,
State constituency
Ayediri
of
State Constituency
Osun
of Osun
State.
State.
You can't hear him again.
All right, congratulations, Honorable, and welcome to Inside Nigeria on Leadership.
Your voice is
Quickly
faint.
ask you this question. Now, you express your opinion about the election of the principal officers for the 10th National Assembly. So I want to quickly ask you,
I can't.
were you told who to vote
I
for
can't
as
hear him,
Speaker
but it's faint.
of Osun State House of Assembly? Can you hear me now?
No, we can't hear you. Your voice is faint. Continue. Okay, you can start.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go on.
All right. So, Honorable Akin, I want to ask you, were you told who to vote for as the Speaker of our Social House of Assembly, as we have seen at the national level yesterday, or your own case at the Social House of Assembly was a different election of the presiding officer for the state legislature?
So, we can't hear him. We can't hear him. So sorry. The voice is so faint. We can't hear him. But we can't hear you. It's really, really sad. I would have loved to have his input there, especially his question directed at our honorable. Honorable, it's a pleasure to have you on the
Thank
program.
you so much.
And I look forward to seeing more of
No
you
problem.
anytime you come to
No
town.
problem.
Goodbye.
Once
Thank you
again,
so
thank
much.
you. I appreciate
Thank you
it. Thank you
too.
for having me.
Obviously, this is where we end this segment of the program. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the audio there with from Bode Gbadebo. The vision was really, really poor. So just stay ahead as we have another segment coming up with my midweek guest, Jide Ojo. Don't go away, just stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. In case you're just logging in, the program is Inside Nigeria, your number one breakfast show on television. My name is Jennifer Lugaba once again. As you can see, my runaway guest, although it's been a long while, my midweek guest, my midweek tonic, Jide Ojo is a syndicated columnist, a TV host, and of course, a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much.
My
It's been a
pleasure.
while.
Yeah.
Sorry about the Jackpot. At the time, I came back. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you on the program. A lot has happened since you've been away. Of course, you kept abreast of the happenings around. And yesterday was the leadership election of some senators or House of Reps to leadership position, National Assembly, that is State National Assembly. What is your take on that? At least Tinubu succeeded in having his men there.
Exactly. First and foremost, I want to congratulate Senator Gosua Pabio and Jupri Barao for emerging as the president of the Senate and deputy president of the Senate. It was a hard-won battle, particularly for Senator Gosua Pabio. It's very interesting that senators had to go and keep vigil because they said they were scared about the 2015 experience.
I actually was also scared for them anyway.
No, you know, losing by a margin of 17 votes shows that Yari
didn't want to give in at all.
didn't. He was not humiliated in that battle. Well, as a first timer in Senate, but was formerly a member of House of Reps. And so you give it to him that there are quite a vested and entrenched interest that actually didn't want Gosua Pabio to emerge, but it's God's will that has prevailed. I appreciate God for his life. You see, sometimes when you name a child, you also have to be very careful in what name you give. This man has shown that he's a man of destiny. From being a commissioner in Akwa Ibom, he became a governor, he became a senator, became a minister.
Came back again.
And he's in the rare breed of people who call GSF. They are very elite club of Nigerian politicians that earned that GSM title, from being governor to senators to minister. So GSM is exclusive club for politicians.
Also has that too.
Chris Ngige has that. Quite a number of them has that. But there are not many. There are not up to 20. There are not very many who has been governor, senator, and minister. It's not even our president has that GSM title.
No,
but you have there.
And I want to speak on his ability to perform, because, like I keep telling people, that if there's any person that I really believe that can do that work, is Godswill Akpabio. He's an orator. He's good. He knows how to carry people. What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's more like a compensation for the South South. It is said that he's the second senator from the South South extraction to have been president of the Senate. The first being Senator Joseph Wires of blessed memory. By the way, Senator Joseph Wires' corpse is still in UK. It has not been brought up for fun. We don't know what actually is happening. Whether the Cross River State governor or the federal government should have waded in, because if he's not been buried in UK, I think he should have been transported there for state honor, being number 3 citizen. However, Godswill Akpabio has his work cut out for him. He has legislative experience, being a former senator, and then being a former governor, being a former minister. So he has both executive and legislative experiences, and they don't come better than that. Of course, you know that in the course of his nomination, there were controversies about his corruption allegations. But both of them, even Yari has to go to court to get a court injunction that he should not be arrested or prosecuted. So allegation does not mean he is guilty. And he who alleges was proved. Criminal allegations have to be proven beyond reasonable doubt. But what I would want him to do, as he has promised and pledged after his emergence yesterday morning, is that he will work in the interest of Nigerians. And that is very heartwarming, because Nigerians are really suffering, and Nigerians want to see impact of governance. It should not be for people like Akpabio or Tajuddin Abbas to be living large now, having long convoy, having billions. Look at what happened. Ikekweremadu was alleged to have about 47 buildings that were initially seized by EFCC, but he was able to get them back by court injunction, both in Nigeria and abroad. That's not somebody. He has not even been Senate president, but being deputy president of Senate. About 47 buildings, allegedly. So this is not time for personal aggrandizement. This is time to roll the sleeves and work for the betterment of Nigeria. Because whether we like it or not, this is not the best of times for the average citizen of this country. The first subsidy remover has inflicted untold hardship of average citizen. And this is the time for the National Assembly to make the needed sacrifice as people's representatives, to show that they really not just sympathize but empathize with us. We don't want all this controversy about buying foreign cars, corruption allegations that has refused to go away, the issues around cutting deals with NDAs. particularly over issues
Over
of
projects,
constituency projects
projects and
and
budgets.
budgets, as well as probes. So I was I came here from NTA where we examined or set the agenda for the 10th National Assembly.
Mm.
That's say in my contribution, we would first and foremost like to see the legislative agenda of Godswill Akpabio as President of Senate, as well as that of Dr. Tajuddin Abbas as Speaker. What is their legislative agenda? Which is the barometer through which you can measure and track their performance in office? What is their aspiration? In fact, Senator Ali Ndume, who is the DG of Akpabio's campaign, that they have 10-point agenda. Can that be codified in a document that Nigerians can, and hold them to? Everywhere in the world now, you have e-parliament. Interestingly, something happened yesterday, Winifred. Mutual distrust made House of Reps to go open ballot yesterday.
Oh yes, that's
Everybody answered their father's name.
And how LP candidate voted, it was so funny. When he was called upon to make his vote, it just reminded me. In fact, it's something that went viral. He said, "Oh, my heart is with Wase, but my vote goes to
Tajuddin." That's it.
Like after they laugh, he let the whole house laughing. The House of Representatives, no, please clarify, yes or no. Because
yes, and my heart's for someone that and that's the danger of going open ballot. By the way, in my column in the Punch today, I reviewed June 12 history, 30 years of June 12, and I dwelt extensively on our electoral process because June 12 is about election, and we look at how we are fared. Unfortunately, my chronicle and my research shows that Nigeria has fared very badly in the last 30 years. And so much so that when you look at all development indices, it's pointing south. So, of what benefit have this National Assembly? This is the 10th. Of what benefit has it been in terms of oversighting, in terms of lawmaking? Did you hear, have you seen the viral video where a member of NDIC talked about how Buhari was railroaded into signing a bill that stripped the president of every power on the NDIC and empowered some cabal So that should not be happening. We need National Assembly that will be vibrant, that will be thorough. We don't want situations where bills with clerical errors. Remember, the reason why Buhari did not sign the electoral bill in 2018 was because of clerical and cross-referencing error. And it has also emanated that even after the passage of the electoral 2022, there were errors that were spotted, particularly the one that excluded the members from being statutory delegates, where they could not even vote for themselves because of the wrong wording of that. And they quickly ordered an amendment to give to President Buhari, but he refused to assent, given the fact that they did not also concede to him over issue of people having to resign, Section 84, so for the Section 84 sub 12, that so public servants have to resign before they can participate and vote. So all of those things, housekeeping, proper, bill drafting and fine-tuning, correction, because when these bills are gazetted, they become law after the signing of the president. And we have had a couple of laws being signed by President Tinubu now. We hope that these laws are going to impact positively on the lives of average Nigerians. So my own impression overall is that we are up to a good start. yesterday there were no upsets. And as regards how many of us were very apprehensive that there could be a reenactment of 2015, so there were no upsets. But even at that, enemies could have been made yesterday, and now the battle has shifted to the emergence of principal officers. What we have yesterday were the emergence of the leadership, or what they call the drivers of the assembly. But you now have to deal with who will be majority leader, who will be the chief whip, who will be the deputy chief whip, or deputy majority leader, and then minority leader, and then the deputy minority leader, the deputy minority whip, and the rest of them. Those principal, those officials still needed to be sorted out. And the earlier this is done, the better,
yes.
because there is still a lot of work to be done. Now, committees, you need to form committees. And my own advice,
before this election took place, that is National Assembly, of course, that would have been sorted that, for you to gain approval from some members, you have to promise them juicy positions.
That's what I said that earlier today on NTA.
So
that all this horse trading behind the scene, this one stepping down for that one. So promises are, but whatever is the negotiation behind the scene, let them be quick and fast about settling down to business, because you cannot have a business when those principal officers have not emerged, and when the committees have not been formed, because the liaison between the executive and the National Assembly is through the committees. I mean, you have to, every correspondence or the bills will have to be introduced by the majority leader. So who is the majority leader now? He has not emerged. You have to also committee referencing maybe an ad hoc committee or a statutory committee to take charge of certain business of the house, the business and ethics committee, the public accounts committee. These are very key committee positions that needed to be constituted very early. And so, given the fact that the law has said that the president have to constitute his cabinet within 60 days, it is imperative for the National Assembly to settle down quickly to business by ensuring that their leadership is, the entire leadership structure is constituted fully, both the principal officers as well as the committees. If we can have that by the end of the month, you get, so that by next month we'll start having the correspondence from the executive asking for one thing or the other, because there are quite a lot of things that still needed to be done ahead of Tinubu administration. And if a bird does not fly with a wing, so he needs the full complement of the National Assembly to perform.
Now, before we go, another issue that has always anger most Nigerians is the humongous amount of money being expended by National Assembly. And we've seen previously, like President Muhammad Buhari, who came in that was going to remedy all that, but it still continues. What is going to happen at the end of the day?
I beg to disagree that there is a humongous amount being paid the members of the National Assembly. I think it's a misconception. Monies, the salary of an average senator is less than 1 million. Yes, and you can quote me on that. Yes, it's less than 1 million. Just like that of a minister is less than 1 million.
Yes,
Winifred, what people are not advancing their mind to is influence peddling that makes them rich. That's why there will be jostling for grade A positions, majority leader, minority leader, chairman appropriation. You know, if you're a chairman of appropriation, you are the signature of all eyes because constituency project and all of those. It's a very big position. Or chairman of NDDC, or chairman of downstream petroleum sector. So these are very influential positions, and that's the trade-off when they go on oversight. You know, if you're a member of that committee, you are coming to oversight NNPCL. You know, you have to shake body. So what is at stake is not so much, because I've also listened to complaints from the National Assembly that the amount they get in budgetary allocation is infinitesimal. It's actually less than 5% of the total budget. For instance, let me break it down for you. In the 2022-2023 budget, the total budget of federal government is about 21 trillion. Did you know that National Assembly is getting maybe 150 billion? No, 150 billion naira. That is not up to 10%, or if my mathematics is okay, I'm not sure it's up to 10% of the total sum. And it's not only the 469 members of the parliament or the National Assembly that shares that amount. There is also the bureaucracy. There is the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, whose entire bureaucracy is also funded from that budget. There is also the legislative aids. You understand? And they have 5. And then there is also the servicing of their constituency offices.
5, is it not too much?
No, it's not too much, because
And
this,
there are reports that most of them,
listen,
they don't even pay them
listen.
money.
The 5 is
that's
2
budgeted
works
for.
with them in Abuja, 3 works with them in their constituency office. So the constituency office is also paid for by the state. So when you look at all these costs, it looks big when you say 150 billion, but look at all the other beneficiaries, all those who, there's what is called National Assembly Service Commission. It is from that 150 billion that you pay the bureaucracy. The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, they just had their permanent site commissioned by President Buhari a couple of weeks ago. That is huge bureaucracy. So people should just not think that when you say 150 billion for National Assembly, that it's only the members that share that money. There are clerks, there are the entire bureaucracy that works to support, and then they pay for consultants that works with National Assembly also from that budget. So at the end of the day, what we should be mindful of is influence peddling, and this issue of corrupt practices where you go and blackmail NDAs, get them to
Agree to a percentage
induce you, or bribe for budget. So if you want me, you remember what happened when Professor Fabian Osuji was the Minister of Education?
And even
Erufai. So those are the situations we should try to avoid, where people will have to bribe to get their budget passed or to get their budget increased, or when they go on oversight, the agency that they are going to oversight being the one providing logistics, like accommodation, feeding, and per diem or honorario. Those are the things that we should ask them not to engage. But in terms of salaries, and some of them are millionaires and billionaires, there is none of them who is an ex-governor that is not a millionaire in the list. And there are quite a handful of them, maybe about 20 of them, plus or minus. So they are very comfortable people. But money is never sufficient for a wealthy man. And that's just it. But what we should mind, what we are reminding them is that we are watching them. We want to know their legislative agenda. We want to see them constitute their principal officers and committees early enough to start taking correspondence from the executive in terms of whether executive bill or in terms of confirmation for certain positions and all of that, so that the wheel of governance can run smooth. It cannot still run smooth now, even though the speaker and the president of the Senate and their deputies have emerged, until when the House is fully constituted with all the committees in place, with all the principal officers in place, and with them having a legislative agenda through which the public can hold them to account.
All right, thank you so much. With this, we come to the end of today's Inside Nigeria. Thank you so much. We really missed you on the program. Obvious,
Thank you
tomorrow,
very
same
much.
time, same station is still another day to keep it digital. Forget. I am going to follow the ball. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.